This is Hayes Q Jones, your DVD and Blu-ray baller on a budget, and this is HQ Videos for you. If you're new to the channel, welcome. If you're a current subscriber, what's up? They greatly appreciate it. Come on in, make yourself at home. You know the routine. This week for our collection video, I wanted to focus on back to school movies. And it's hard to believe it's already August. We're past the halfway mark of the year. And it just kind of brought back memories of my summer times growing up back in Michigan. Sometimes riding my bike, or when I was able to driving to the matinee movie, sometimes catch an 11 o'clock show. And if I was clever enough, I can schedule maybe a second or third movie, depending how the movies fell, and kind of snuck into the other ones. Yeah, I know it wasn't right though, but somewhat mischievous misdemeanor fun though. But these movies kind of bring me back to that era of being back in school. And if you have some favorite high school or college or just going back to movies, please leave it in the comments. Now, without further ado, sit back, relax, have a drink, have a smoke, and I'll catch you on the other end of this video. All right, we're going to jump right into my favorite back to school movies. First one, not Office Space, but Napoleon Dynamite. This is a 2004 comedy. This was directed and written by Jared Hess, produced by Jeremy Kuhn, starring John Heder, John Grease, Aaron Well, Efren Ramirez, Diedrich Bader, Tina Majorino, and Sandy Martin. The plot behind this: a listless and alienated teenager decides to help his new friend win the class presidency in their small western high school, while he must deal with his bizarre family life back at home. And before making this video, I was thinking, I love this movie. If you ask me why I like this movie, I couldn't give you a logical answer. Thinking back about the movie, it's an underdog movie. The comedy is bizarre, offbeat, cringy. The best way I can explain the comedy, or the type of comedy, is deadpan humor on the level of Arrested Development, the television show. He is just so awkward. His family is so weird. Vote for Pedro is kind of a meme from the movie. Again, it's just one of those really awkward, off-settling movie. The director, Hess, Jared Hess, I believe he did this other movie, Broncos or something like that. Another bizarre movie, didn't do as well though, but it's just really bizarre, offbeat humor. It's like looking at a strange car accident where no one got hurt. You just can't help but just stare, and you're fascinated by it though. So my first pick for favorite back to school movies, Napoleon Dynamite. And this is a 20th Century Fox release, Napoleon Dynamite. My next pick is the 1986 comedy romance sports film Back to School. This was directed by Alan Metter, produced by Estelle Endler, written by Steve Katman. This stars Rodney Dangerfield, Sally Kellerman, Burt Young, Keith Gordon, Robert Downey Jr., Paxton Whitehead, Terry Farrell, Adrienne Barbeau, William Zabka, Ned Beatty, Sam Kinison, Robert Picardo, and those are most of the names that I recognize. The plot behind this: self-made millionaire Thornton Mellon decides to get a better education and enrolls at his son Jason's college. While Jason tries to fit in with his fellow students, Thornton struggles to gain his son's respect, giving way to hilarious antics. And this is a double feature MGM that I purchased from Walmart, if I remember correctly. Oop, I forgot the movie. Let me get the movie. Hold on. And here's the Blu-ray, the double feature with Easy Money also. Titled song by Billy Joel. Let's go back then. What really made this movie for me is Sam Kinison. If you're not familiar with Sam Kinison, he was a comedian. I think he passed in the 90s, early 2000s. He used to be an Episcopalian preacher turned comedian. And he'd have these acts where he would just be screaming at the crowd, just crazy stuff. One of my favorite lines is, I don't condone hitting anyone though, but I do understand what turns Mr. Hand into Mr. Fist. So that type of humor. He and Rodney Dangerfield has this hilarious scene where they're in class and they're asking about the Vietnam War, and Sam just goes off though. Funny, offbeat humor. If you like Rodney Dangerfield, you'll like Back to School, more or less. Either you like Rodney Dangerfield or you don't. And again, this is an MGM release. My next pick is the 2001 adventure family fantasy film, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. This is directed by Chris Columbus, produced by Todd Arno, written by J.K. Rowling. This stars Richard Harris, Dame Maggie Smith, Robert Coltrane, Saunders Triplett, Daniel Radcliffe, Fiona Shaw, Harry Melling, Richard Griffiths, Derek Dedman, Ian Hart. The plot behind this: Harry Potter has lived under the stairs at his aunt and uncle's house his whole life. But on his 11th birthday, he learns he's a powerful wizard with a place waiting for him at Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. And growing up as a kid, I was an avid reader. C.S. Lewis, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Love that series. Tolkien, I read too, a little bit hard of a read. I wish J.K. Rowling had been around. As when I was a kid, I definitely would have devoured all the books. This has a special place in my heart also. When we had the pandemic and kids were pretty much getting their school online, my son and I watched the whole series from beginning to end of the Harry Potter series. Usually we watch a movie, then if he had all his classwork, sometime I roll out to Dollar Tree. He'd ride in the back of the car, we listen to music, he'd fall asleep. So, love the movie, love the series. I think they're doing a revamp or another movie coming out. Can't wait to see that. Just the whole fantasy, Hogwarts, is just a fantastic story. This is my favorite because probably this is the most innocent of all of them. After the second one, they start getting a little bit dark and stuff like that, though. But still, great series of movies. And this is a Warner Brothers release. Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. Next, we have a triple feature. We have The Breakfast Club, which came out in 1985. 16 Candles, which came out in 1984. And Weird Science, which came out in 1985. All these were directed and written by John Hughes. With Weird Science, you have Anthony Michael Hall, Kelly LeBrock, Ian Mitchell-Smith, Bill Paxton, Suzanne Snyder, Robert Downey Jr. And those are most of the major names. With Weird Science, you have two unpopular teenagers, Gary and Wyatt, fail at all attempts to be accepted by their peers. Their desperation to be like leads them to create a woman via their computer. Fun, demented, junior high, freshman year, silly humor. Next you have The Breakfast Club. Breakfast Club came out in 1985. This has Emilio Estevez, Paul Gleason, Anthony Michael Hall, Judd Nelson, Molly Ringwald, Ali Sheedy. Those are pretty much I didn't know John Hughes played Brian's father. Interesting. And Brian with Anthony Michael Hall. Huh, interesting. I might have known that, I might have forgotten that though. With The Breakfast Club, you have 5 high school students from different walks of life endure a Saturday detention under a power-hungry principal. The desperate group includes Rebel John, Princess Claire, Outcast Allison, Brainy Brian, and Andrew the Jock. Each has a chance to tell his or her story, making the others see them a little differently. And when the day ends, they question whether school ever will be the same. And the last one, 16 Candles, which came out in 1984, that stars Molly Ringwald, Justin Henry, Michael Scofield, Haviland Morris, Anthony Michael Hall, John Cusack, Joan Cusack, Brian Doyle Murray. The plot behind 16 Candles, a teenage girl deals with her parents forgetting her birthday and a crush on her high school's heartthrob. And this is all Universal. And this is, if you want an insight to 80s teenage movies, John Hughes and probably these three would probably be the best example of 80s teenagers, middle class, upper middle class high school students in the 80s. The style, the music, just the overall feel. John Hughes had a great way of kind of capturing that upper middle class society and still making somewhat relatable to the rest of the world on a certain level. So these three great going back to school movies: The Breakfast Club, 16 Candles, and Weird Science. John Hughes yearbook collection with a nice slipcover also. My next pick is, I'm cheating a little bit, it's not a movie, it's a television show. This is a 2022 comedy crime fantasy mystery television show, Wednesday. This was directed by Tim Burton, produced by Kayla Alpert, written by Alfred Goh. This stars Catherine Zeta-Jones, Luis Guzman, Christina Ricci, Jenna Ortega, Gwendolyn Christie, Jamie McShane, Percy Hines-White, Naomi J. Ogawa, Hunter Doohan. The plot behind this: after being expelled from several institutions of higher learning, Wednesday is forced to attend her mother's alma mater, Nevermore Academy. Wednesday attempts to master her emerging psychic ability toward a monstrous killing spree that has terrorized the local town and solved the supernatural mystery that has embroiled her parents 25 years ago. And this is a Warner Brothers release. This is a fantastic revamp of an old television show, The Addams Family, which I believe was in the 60s. I grew up watching the show in syndication on Black and White. And they did a reboot of the movies with Christina Ricci, I believe, playing Wednesday, but it was, again, The Addams Family. With Wednesday, they just focused on the one child, and they did an excellent job of casting Jenna Ortega. I love Luis Guzman and Catherine Zeta-Jones as Gomez and Caramilla. That's what you always call her, Mrs. Addams. They're more, Luis Guzman is more like the actual Addams Family cartoon character from the Scooby-Doo show, more so than John Astin from the television show. But it's great deadpan, dark humor with almost, from the school Nevermore, kind of a Harry Potter feel to it also. I love the school, the name Nevermore. If you're familiar with Edgar Allan Poe, that's from the poem The Raven, Nevermore, Nevermore. So a lot of just really tongue-in-cheek jokes, deadpan humor, and again with that kind of Harry Potter feel. So Warner Brothers, Wednesday, and also the second season just dropped, so I'm actually rewatching the first season so I can get into the second season. My next pick is the 2002 comedy drama music romance Drumline. It's directed by Charles Stone III, produced by Dallas Austin, written by Sean Sheps. It stars Nick Cannon, Zoe Saldana, Orlando Jones, Leonard Roberts, GQ, Jason Weaver, Earl Portier. That's in relation to Sidney Poitier. Candace Carey. And I think those are all the names I recognize. The plot behind this: a talented street drummer from Harlem enrolls in a Southern university expecting to lead his marching band's drumline to victory. He initially flounders in his new world before realizing that it takes more than talent to reach the top. And this is personal to me because actually the last 2 years of my college, I went to a historically black college. And back then, I had never seen a black marching band. Unless you watch it on BET, you actually have to go to a football game, this HBCU football game, to see a black marching band, and it just blew me away. And the precision, the timing, the sound, all that doesn't come just naturally. I didn't realize that marching bands are so big that they actually give scholarships for the individual musicians. And my first year down in college, I remember waking up at 5 in the morning. They're actually practicing at like 5 o'clock in the morning, marching in precision, getting their sounds right. It's not easy. And some of these colleges are so deep into the marching band, they actually have their own fraternity. KK Psi, not to be confused with Kappa Alpha Psi. Kappa Kappa Psi, KK Psi was actually a band fraternity. They'd actually pledge people. Some of the members actually get a K branded. I don't know, very similar to the Omegas. I have one myself. But fun movie. Arguably Nick Cannon's best movie. Great performances with the marching band. Great, exceptional comedy romance, kind of a little comedy in there. So nice mix of comedy, music, and romance. And this is a 20th Century Fox release. So my second favorite back-to-school movie, Drumline. And lastly, my favorite back-to-school movie, we have the 1986 comedy Ferris Bueller's Day Off. This was directed and written by John Hughes, produced by Michael Chiklis. This stars Matthew Broderick, Alan Ruck, Mia Sara, Jeffrey Jones, Jennifer Grey, Cindy Pickett, Lyman Ward, Eddie McClurg, Charlie Sheen has a very small part in there, Ben Stein, Christy Swanson. I think that's everyone that I recognize name-wise. The plot behind this: after high school slacker Ferris Bueller successfully fakes an illness in order to skip school for the day, he goes on a series of adventures throughout Chicago and with his girlfriend Sloan and best friend Cameron, all the while trying to outwit his Wiley School principal and fed-up sister. This is 80s right here, Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Matthew Broderick will probably always be known as Ferris Bueller, probably his biggest role, even though he did Project X, War Games, other movies, other great movies though, but he'll always be known as Ferris Bueller, charismatic guy everyone likes, that pretty much gets away with murder, and he's just so charismatic, you can't help but to like him, even though he does pretty much what he wants to and gets away with it though. Paramount release, my favorite back-to-school movie, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, an iconic part of 80s cinematography. And these are my favorite back-to-school movies and television show. If you made it this far in the video, smash the like, give me the big thumbs up. If you have your favorite back-to-school movie, please leave it in the comments. Other than that, may the best of your past be the worst of your future. Everyone, please be safe. Deuces.